Hi everyone, it's Michael from AIrguns, and I've got another German-made Umarex pellet shooter here to review for you, and this is the Walther CP88. Now it's a non-blowback, pretty much all-metal gun. This is the blued version. It's more of a matte black. There are other versions. There's gloss versions and nickel versions. There's even some that come with wood grips, but this is the blued or matte black version. This gun uses a 12-gram CO2 cartridge. It shoots .177 caliber pellets. It has the standard Umarex 8-shot rotary magazine. This gun weighs 2¼ pounds, shoots in single and double action, and it has a claimed feet per second of just under 400 feet per second. Now, to start things off, this gun is a fairly close replica to the actual Walther P88 compact. And again, this gun is made by Umarex in Germany, so it's very well made and has your typical German quality. And as you can see, it comes in this hard shell case, a nice case here. And it comes with 2 rotary magazines and this Allen key, which is used to adjust the sights. So let's take it out of the box. Alright, so we have the left side of the gun. Let's take a quick look at it. Different angles here. Nice size, fairly compact gun. As you can see, we have different parts of the gun here. We have a slide release. Now this is the only part really on this gun that's actually molded into it, so it's non-functioning. It is metal, but it's non-functioning. And then we have the teardown or takedown lever at the front here, and this is actually used to allow the front half of the slide to move forward for when you load the rotary magazine. So let's take a look at that really quick here. See how it just moves forward. Grab a rotary magazine. Okay, and just like all the Umarex rotary magazine shooters, here's your metal magazine that you can load into this gun. Just pop it in there, put your pellets in, click it back, and you're ready to go. Take that out. You'll also notice there's a magazine release on this gun, and it doesn't push in from this side. You push it in from the other side, and it allows the actual grip to come off, allowing you access to the CO2 bay. And just like all guns, you just load your CO2 in. With this one, you'd move the actual, what looks like the magazine, you'd pop this lever down, you just finger tighten your magazine here, fairly snug. When you get to the top, when it's all tight, takes a little bit, nice and tight, and then you just, now this is a used one, but you just pop that and you're in, you're good to go. From that point on, you put your cover back on. A little bit tough. Once you get it on, you're ready to go. Also on the side, we have our safety, and it's a working safety. And you'll also notice that we have the nice Walther license markings on this particular gun. Now, as far as accuracy compared to the real P88, it's very close. Now I would say P88 instead of CP88. And it would probably say compact on it somewhere. It wouldn't also have the textured markings here. This would be smooth here on the actual P88. But other than that, this gun looks really, really close to the original P88. Alright, let's take a look at the right side. Have a look around real quick. Looks very nice. Now the ejection port is not cut out on this particular gun. Now you'll notice that you have your engraved airgun instructions here on the side of the slide. It's a little bit loud in my opinion. It would have been nice if that was toned down somewhat. And again, we have a safety on the side, the ambidextrous safety. So that's a nice feature. And again, here's your magazine release. I'm not going to push it this time, but this allows you access to your CO2 bay by removing the grip on the left hand side. Now the grips on this gun are a hard plastic, and they're sort of a matte black, and they match the gun quite nicely. Let's take a look at the top of this gun, and again you'll notice that the ejector port is not cut out in any way. You've got your front sight here, and there is no white dot on it at all. On the back sight, again, there's no white dots to help you with targeting. It does shoot very nicely. It's easy to sight, but on certain backgrounds you may find it a little bit difficult. You have your double action, single action trigger, single, double, Single action. Now on the bottom of this gun, again, you have this lever that tightens your CO2. So this is for tightening up your CO2, and when you're done using it, you pull this open to release your CO2. You'll notice on the bottom of the slide here, or on the bottom of the gun, that there is no rail for accessories at all. And that's true to the original. Now on the barrel of this gun, you'll notice that the actual barrel is recessed. You have a larger diameter, and the interior barrel is recessed, which makes the gun look a little more realistic, having that larger opening, more true to a 9mm size round that would be coming out. And I love it when they do that to these guns. It just makes them look a little more realistic. I always like doing a really quick little comparison if I can, and so I don't have another gun that's the same exact style. This is very SIG looking, so maybe my Sig Sauer P226, the X5 that I have, but that's a much bigger gun, it's a BB gun. But this other Umarex gun I have here is another German made gun, and it uses the same type of build, same type of quality construction, same type of operation. You can see here you have the same way to get at the rounds. The front part of the slide moves forward, allowing you access to put the magazines in. Same type of gun. Obviously this one's very similar. And then I also have the PPQ that I just reviewed recently, and it's a much less expensive gun, but it uses similar design. More plastic in this gun, same way to access your magazines on this gun as well. Alright, so we're going to go and do the chronograph portion of this review and test out and see how this Umarex CP88 did in the feet per second department. Okay, we're here with the chronograph feet per second portion of this review of the Walther CP88 pellet shooter by Umarex. And you may hear a little bit of gunfire in the background. Well, that's an actual gun range. I have one that's a few miles away. Sounds like they're doing some shotgun shooting right now. So let's get to the shooting here, and I'm going to put 8 rounds through the chronograph, and we'll see what this gun does. And now it has a claimed feet per second of around 400 feet per second, so let's find out if that's accurate. Gun is off safety. We're going to go single action. And shot 1. 385. There goes the duck. 385. That's pretty consistent so far. 378. 369. 350. 345. Shot number 7, 335. Gun's cooling down a little bit here. And 329. So that's not too bad. 329 was the last one. We started out a little higher. As the gun cooled down a little bit, it's naturally going to lose some feet per second. That's okay. It's a little cool out today, probably under 10 degrees Celsius. So I'm not really going to expect optimal readings here. On a much warmer day, we might even get up into the closer to 400 feet per second. So the CP88 did fairly well in the chronograph portion of the test. Started out in about the 380 feet per second range and then worked its way down a bit. Again, keep in mind that the temperature was not really that high, and to get higher feet per second ratings you definitely need to be in a little warmer environment. So let's head over and do the shooting portion of this test and see how well this gun does grouping on a target from 20 feet away. Alright, I've got the Umarex Walther CP88, and we're going to put 8 rounds into this target from 20 feet out in a standing position, a freestanding position. So let's find out how well this gun does in this shooting portion of the test. Alright, it's actually not a bad grouping. With the exception of this one flyer here, I'm not sure what happened there. I thought I was on target. Could have been something with the pellet or with me. But realistically, this is the grouping here that we're looking at. There's always going to be some exceptions, depending on the person, what's going on in the environment, all kinds of things. Anyways, that's pretty nice. That's about 1.25 inches right there, that grouping there. So pretty impressive. We'll forgive this one round over here, and we'll just take this grouping here, about 1.25 inches. Not bad at all. Alright, so this pellet shooter did pretty good in the target portion of the review. And as you notice, when I first started shooting, I got that kind of flyer off to the right hand side. That one stayed at the extreme edge for pretty much the whole shooting test. Now what I did is I did an additional 16 rounds, so I shot 2 more magazines at this target. Shot them a little quicker, so I was still doing single action, but I was shooting a little bit quicker. And you'll see that the grouping really stayed nice. So keep in mind again, this is from 20 feet away in a freestanding position. Right. So there's always some human factor involved. And that was a pretty nice grouping here. That's like a 2-inch grouping, and that's with 16 plus the original 8 shots. So we're looking at 24 shots altogether, and you can see the grouping's really fairly tight. Now one thing I wanted to mention real quick as a tip for this gun is when you're putting the pellets in, make sure to seat them all the way in. So make sure that they go right inside and they're not sticking out at all. Depends on what kind of pellets you're using, but some are a little tighter than others. What I found is if the pellets are not quite flush, that the magazine tends to bind just a little bit. It makes it just a little bit more difficult to move the action when you're shooting this gun. As long as the pellets are recessed in here, everything's fine. Okay, so let's go over some of the pros and the cons. So here's the good stuff. It's all metal construction, very little plastic, other than things like the grips, which you would expect to be plastic. This gun is very solid, has a good weight in the hand. And of course, this particular Umarex product is made in Germany. Gotta like that. It comes in a nice hard shell case. Not a lot of the lower priced air guns come in the hard shell cases these days. Another thing I like is I do like the matte black finish. It is a lot truer to a blued finish than would be, say, a gloss finish. Gloss finishes tend to be a little too shiny. Now the rear sight is adjustable for windage, which is really nice, and it comes with the Allen key for adjusting the windage and adjusting left to right trajectories when you're shooting. Again, the gun is both double and single action. I love it when they do that. Nice for when you're doing target shooting or if you want to shoot rapid fire. Gun has the ambidextrous safeties, which is nice. And it actually did fairly good in the feet per second department and in how many shots I was able to get from each CO2 cartridge. I actually put 12 magazines through this gun and it was still shooting fairly good. I was noticing it. It was starting to drop off at that point, so that's when I called it quits, but that's still pretty good. Okay, so what are some of the things that I didn't exactly like about this gun? It is more expensive. Now granted, it's made in Germany, it's mostly metal, it's a very high quality gun. It's hard to compare this gun to some of the lower cost guns and say, well, this gun should be, you know, under $100 or just over $100. It's just not going to be in that price range because of where it's made and how it's made. But that could be a con for someone looking for a starter air gun just getting into the hobby. Now the sights on this gun, because they're all black, they don't have any white dots on them, it does make it a little bit more difficult to shoot on a dark background. And lastly, I wasn't really a big fan of the engraving here. There's just a lot of lettering, a lot of information here going on. And I'm sure it has to be there on this gun, but it would have been nice if it was just toned down maybe a little bit. Alright, so that pretty much concludes this review of the Umarex Walther CP88 pellet gun. And as always, make sure to check out my website, replica-airguns.com, and my web store while you're there. We have this gun for sale in the Replica Airguns store, and we have a lot of other varieties of guns that you can take a look at while you're there. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do. Make sure while you're on the site, check out some of the reviews and articles, not just on this gun, but some of the other guns that I have there. There's lots of information for you. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and until the next one, take care.